In the winter of 1846, deep in the snowy mountains of California, a group of American pioneers found themselves stranded, cut off from the world, surrounded by endless blizzards, starving, freezing, and desperate. What began as a hopeful journey toward a better life became one of the most horrifying survival stories in American history. A story of courage, of tragedy, of impossible choices, and of the brutal, unforgiving frontier where dreams were easily destroyed. This is the true haunting story of the Donner Party, the settlers who attempted to cross the mountains and never truly returned.
Chapter 1. The American Dream. It was the spring of 1846, and America was expanding westward. Land was abundant, opportunity was everywhere, and thousands of families packed their wagons to journey toward California and Oregon. Among them were two families who would be remembered forever: the Donners and the Reeds. George Donner, a calm and generous man, was chosen as the leader of their wagon group. James Reed, wealthy and ambitious, dreamed of building a new life in the West. Their caravan included men, women, children, grandparents, and even newborn babies. Nearly 90 people in total. With wagons stocked, oxen hitched, and hearts full of hope, they set off across the American plains, toward the unknown. They had no idea this journey would destroy them. Chapter 2. The Lost Trail. For the first 2 months, everything went smoothly. The prairie was green, the rivers calm, and the families sang around campfires every night. But in July, everything changed. The Donner Party made a decision that would seal their fate forever. They chose a new route written by a man named Lansford Hastings, a route he had never traveled himself. He claimed it would shorten their trip by weeks. In reality, it would cost them months, and eventually their lives. This new path, later called Hastings Cutoff, was a trap. Chapter 3. The Desert of Death. The Donner Party crossed into the Wasatch Mountains and immediately found themselves lost, hacking through thick forest with axes, moving only a few miles each day. By the time they descended into the Great Salt Lake Desert, they were exhausted. Hastings had promised a 2-day crossing. It took them nearly 7 days. The desert sun scorched the land. Heat rose like fire from the ground. Animals collapsed. Wagons broke apart. Water ran out. Children cried for days. Mothers begged for shade. Fathers walked for miles without rest. Many oxen ran away in madness. Others died where they fell. By the time they escaped the desert, the Donner Party had lost heavy wagons, most of their food, precious animals, and weeks of precious time. Winter was coming, and they were far behind schedule. Chapter 4. The Last Push. By October, snow clouds gathered over the Sierra Nevada mountains. The Donner Party pushed forward desperately. They were tired, hungry, and worn down, but they believed they could reach California before the snow fell. They had to believe it. But the mountains had other plans. On October 30th, snow began to fall gently, then heavily, then violently. The Donner Party raced upward, but by the time they reached Truckee Lake, now Donner Lake, a wall of snow 6 feet high blocked the pass. They were trapped. Winter had slammed the door behind them.
Chapter 5. The Snow Prison. Snowstorms buried the mountains for days at a time. Wind howled all night, shaking the makeshift cabins the families built. Food ran out quickly. Oxen died. Horses vanished. Leather, bark, roots, even mice became meals. Children grew too weak to stand. Adults shivered, wrapped in blankets, praying for morning light. Weeks passed, then months. The snow reached 20 feet deep. The sky never cleared. The lakes froze solid. Families huddled in the darkness, telling stories to keep their children from crying. Hope faded like candlelight in the storm. Chapter 6: The Forlorn Hope. In mid-December, 15 of the strongest members formed a desperate rescue mission. They were known as the Forlorn Hope. They strapped makeshift snowshoes to their feet and walked into the freezing mountains, knowing most of them would die. For days, they trekked through blizzards, frostbite, starvation, and endless white hills. Some collapsed in the snow. Others went blind from the reflection of the sun. Their food ran out, and then they made the darkest decision imaginable. To stay alive, they used the bodies of the dead to survive. It was a choice made from desperation, not cruelty. A choice that saved lives and haunted them forever. Chapter 7: Rescue at Last. After 33 days in the wilderness, the survivors of the Forlorn Hope reached a small settlement. The story spread instantly across California. Within days, the first rescue team set out into the mountains. But what they found was worse than anything they imagined. Children curled up beside their dead parents, cabins half buried in snow, starving families too weak to speak. Some had survived by eating boiled leather. Others resorted to the same desperate measures as the Forlorn Hope. Rescue teams made 4 separate journeys into the mountains, each one finding scenes more tragic than the last. By the time spring arrived, 47 people survived. 42 had died. But the suffering stayed with every survivor for life.
Final chapter: The Legend and the Lesson. Today, the name Donner Party is known across the world, not for bravery, not for determination, but for the horrors they endured. Yet, beneath the tragedy lies a deeper truth. These were ordinary families, driven by hope, seeking a better life, caught in a perfect storm of bad decisions, bad timing, and the unforgiving wilderness of the American West. Their story is not just about survival. It is about the limits of human endurance, the power of determination, and the brutal cost of chasing the American dream. The mountains they tried to cross still stand today, silent, cold, and eternal. A monument to the journey that changed American history forever.